My name is Henry, and until recently, I was confident in the harmony of our marital relationship with Mary. We were both successful in our professional careers and often allowed ourselves to travel, escaping the familiar surroundings of home. But at one point, everything changed dramatically, and the reason for this was the former lover of my wife who appeared from the past. Let me tell you this story. Returning home after work at the usual time, I was anticipating another evening in the company of my beloved wife, with whom we are connected already 6 years of life together. She was busy ironing her cocktail dress, and I couldn't help but be excited about our upcoming plans. Her dark skin, deep brown eyes, silky hair, and graceful figure created a unique image. However, before I could learn about our plans for the evening, Maria involuntarily changed the subject, telling me about an unexpected meeting with someone named Logan. The name stirred my memory, and when I speculated that it might have been her boyfriend from her high school days, Maria confirmed my speculation. Logan was her first love, and they had only broken up because of the distance that separated their colleges. I had never met Logan in person, but Maria often mentioned him in our conversations. She told me that she'd run into him suddenly in the lobby of my office building, and they decided to have dinner together. This caused me to hesitate, as I was not used to anyone intruding on our intimate evenings. However, given the unusual nature of the situation, I agreed, though not without hesitation. Maria, however, threw a bombshell at me when she announced that dinner was for her and Logan alone. The thought of her meeting her ex-boyfriend alone, especially during our usual date night, was foreign to me. I expressed my concerns and bewilderment at her desire to spend the evening without me. She insisted that it was just a reunion of old friends and that she didn't want me to worry about the past. I objected, arguing that it was inappropriate for a married woman to meet alone with another man, especially a former lover. The tension between us was building. I suggested that I either accompany her to dinner or drop the idea altogether. My suggestion provoked her anger. She asserted her independence, emphasizing that I was her husband, not her father. Despite her protests, I remained adamant in expressing my displeasure with the situation. In desperation, she decided to leave alone. Leaving the empty house, I took a bottle of beer from the refrigerator and deepened my thoughts at the kitchen table. We were always used to discussing such matters and coming to a consensus. Not once in our life together had we ever acted against the other's opinion. When Maria finally returned, I couldn't help but admit that she looked stunning. However, there was only one dominant thought in my mind. She had decorated too brightly for a simple dinner with a friend. As she walked by, she stopped and kissed me lightly on the cheek, promising that we would discuss everything upon her return. I was powerless to change anything. We had already discussed it, and she had made it clear that she would do as she saw fit, without regard for my opinion. I reminded her of our family rules, to which she anxiously assured me that it was just a dinner party, nothing more. With these words, she left the house in a hurry. I went to bed early. She left around 7 p.m. and returned to the bedroom around 10:30 p.m. She headed straight for the shower, which was a regular thing for her, so I didn't see anything strange about it. Maria then walked up to me naked and whispered in my ear, "Darling, I could use some of your affection tonight." I turned around to her, and honestly, I thought the idea was weird, like she was turned on from seeing Logan and came home to have sex with me. I had little interest in how she felt at that moment. I was more interested in who she was thinking about. After all, I didn't think we were completely reconciled. However, I rolled over onto my back, and as expected, it felt good. However, her words didn't match her actions. She suddenly said, "Would you rather I get turned on by you and then have sex with him?" I replied that her intercourse with him obviously aroused her. She hastily tried to justify herself, assuring me that regardless of the circumstances, she would only have sex with me because she loved me. She couldn't understand why I wasn't taking her words seriously. I sat down and turned to face her, explaining that I couldn't understand why she wasn't bothered by my excitement about it. I emphasized that her past with Logan didn't matter, because she was now my wife and my feelings should carry weight with her. She eventually admitted that I was right and apologized for her inattention to my feelings. She admitted that she had gotten caught up in the excitement of meeting him and had forgotten what really mattered to her. Relieved that she finally understood, I hugged her. She looked up at me with her deep brown eyes and asked if we could make love. I agreed, and we regained intimacy with each other. The incident faded from my memory until 2 weeks later when Maria called to say she would be late for work because of a special project. It was a Wednesday, a day Logan usually drove his route. It seemed to me that this couldn't have been a mere coincidence. On my way back from work, I decided to stop by her office. On my way out, I bought a couple sandwiches to give the appearance of an unexpected dinner. I had never visited her at work, and this was the first time in 3 years that she had stayed late. The office was closed since it was after business hours, so I knocked on the glass door. Maria, seeing me, came to the door. I expected to see a busy her, but she turned around with a bright smile, surprised but happy to see me. "I've brought us dinner," I said, suggesting we eat together. Despite her late hour of work, we spent about 15 minutes together, sharing news about our days and eating dinner. Afterward, I left her to finish her work and headed home. Returning home, I felt uneasy, doubting Maria's fidelity. Maybe it was really over with that dinner and she had already turned that page of her life. However, a recurring scenario made me doubt. She claimed she was working on another special project, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Deciding to check, I called her office at 5:45 and again at 6:30. Both times she answered with no signs of concern, saying she loved me and missed me. This was repeated every other Thursday. Finding comfort in her answers, I still couldn't shake the paranoia and continued to call her regularly. The turning point came at her insurance company's corporate party, 4 months later. Talking to Sheila, the office manager, I mentioned special projects, only to find out that no such projects had been assigned by Sheila. I felt stupid and confused. After apologizing, I realized that I had been lied to. It became obvious that something was going on Thursdays. Perhaps Logan had changed his route, or it was a coincidence, but suspicions remained. There was only one missing element, conclusive evidence. On another particular Thursday, I parked my friend's car near Maria's office building and witnessed her walking out of there holding hands with Logan. I took some surreptitious shots as they drove away in a Ford Taurus, different from her regular Camry. This provided the perfect cover for my surveillance. I strategically positioned my car to stay in the shadows and not attract attention. I was ready to photograph them together when they parked near the hotel. I discreetly captured them walking to their room. He opened the door and they stopped in the doorway, engrossed in a long and passionate kiss. It was a blow to my senses, especially when I noticed she was still wearing her wedding ring. I wondered what it would be like to wear the symbol of our marriage in moments like that. I took a few more pictures, then made an appointment with my lawyer and informed work of my short absence. At about 2:30, the door to their suite opened and I continued taking pictures. Maria was buttoning and adjusting her clothes, looking disheveled. There was no need for further proof. The fact that she had been with him at the hotel was obvious. Calmly putting the phone away, I headed home, thankful for the fact that we had no children and had acquired no significant joint assets. Splitting our cars and bank accounts 50-on-50 seemed like a simple solution. As expected, Maria called explaining another late night on the project. I confidently assured her that everything was fine and we would meet around 7:30 p.m. I was determined to make this meeting my last, given the modest management of our finances. I usually paid the bills and managed the banking without her involvement, despite knowing the inevitable. I held back from taking further action when she called to inform me of another delay. On the way home, I just grabbed a snack without tasting the food and then started packing my things. By 7:25 when Maria returned, everything was packed, loaded into the car, and I was ready to leave. She walked in a good mood and greeted me cheerfully, but when she tried to kiss me, I shied away. We sat down at the kitchen table that was once full of warm memories. She was smiling, unaware of the seriousness of the upcoming conversation. When I mentioned her frequent late nights at work, she seemed to think it was a casual discussion, not realizing the depth of the situation and the real topic of our projects. By insisting on details, I caught her off guard. The conversation unfolded, exposing the truth about her late nights and my firm decision that this would be our last meeting. I confidently stated that I knew all about her connection to Logan, to which she reacted with mixed feelings of despair and disappointment. "Henry, damn it, I didn't do anything to him. I haven't even seen him since I met him a few months ago," she insisted. I asked her if she was sure of that, to which she affirmed her innocence. However, a certain uncertainty in her gaze contradicted her words. I challenged her by presenting the photographs taken 2 weeks ago and invited her to identify the man in them. I spread the pictures out on the table where I could see her leaving the room in disarray, the divorce papers lying beside her. "No, Henry, please, it was nothing serious. Let's forget about it," she begged, but my resolve was unwavering. I reminded her of our original agreement that cheating was a betrayal leading to the end of the relationship, despite her assurances and expressions of love. I couldn't ignore the repeated acts of betrayal and lies. I always thought our marriage was based on honesty, but she crumbled under the weight of the truth. "Oh, Henry, please, I love you with all my heart. I can't explain it. When I saw him, all the old feelings came flooding back, and I wanted to relive them. I agreed to dinner, and eventually we ended up at the hotel. I did it willingly. Each time was easier, but less pleasant," she admitted. She apologized, declaring her love, but it was too late for me. I left the apartment for the last time. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. Maria accepted the decision without resistance. I stayed in the one-bedroom apartment, and Maria switched offices and moved in with Logan. I immersed myself in my work, still feeling homesick for her, even though I realized that our return to each other was impossible. Almost a year had passed since we spent our last evening around the kitchen table. I received a message from Maria requesting a meeting since she happened to be in town. We agreed to meet at a small bar near my apartment. When I walked in, I saw her at the other end of the room, visibly slimmed down. She was still beautiful, but changed. I greeted her warmly, hugged her lightly, and kissed her cheek. "So what brings you to town?" I asked, sitting down across from her. I ordered a Coca-Cola, to which she was surprised, opting for a strawberry daiquiri. Things have changed in the last year. Life is full of surprises. Maria admitted that Logan had cheated on her, and I found a certain irony in that, expressing sympathy. She told me how she discovered the cheating. "It turns out there are other husbands less understanding than you. Some of them decided to physically express their displeasure to Logan. After the incident, he disappeared, and she didn't know where he went. Henry, I am truly sorry for my actions. I was foolish to fall in love with the memory of a man who doesn't really exist and may never have existed. We had a wonderful marriage, and I still love you. I've learned my lesson," she admitted. Maria asked a question that sounded hopeful. "Is there a chance?" At that moment, a figure in a knee-length blue dress walked through the door, my new friend Renee, a tall blonde. She placed her purse on a chair, kissed me on the cheek, and apologized for being late, explaining that she had gotten held up in a work meeting. Without waiting for a response, she picked up her drink and sipped it. "I got your message. It's all taken care of, but I'm done talking about work and ready to start our evening," she said. I introduced them to each other. "This is Maria, my ex-wife. Maria, this is my girlfriend Renee." They exchanged polite greetings. Renee made a joke. "I hope you've heard some good things about me," Maria replied. "He always spoke well of you, except for the last few months of our marriage, but that was expected." At that moment, I saw Maria's eyes become moist, and she said, "He's a good man. Stick with him and be smarter than me." Renee noticed that Maria saw the wedding ring on her finger. "You were hoping to get it back, weren't you?" asked Renee. Maria admitted, "I had hoped, but I guess I don't have a chance anymore. I think it's time for me to go." Renee put her hand on Maria's arm and said, "I'd hate for you to leave." Maria smiled, wished us good luck, and stood up from her chair and left the bar. Renee sincerely expressed her desire to get to know Maria better. "I would really like to get to know you better, Maria. You were a big part of Henry's life and very important to him. You helped make him the man I fell in love with. Why wouldn't I want to get to know you better and maybe even become friends?" Maria was puzzled by such a suggestion. Renee continued, "Of course, I'll never let you two alone together. I guess that's just common sense." Maria replied ironically, "Yes, as someone once told me, a person in a relationship shouldn't be alone with their ex. If only I had followed that advice when Henry gave it to me." Those words sounded like an admission of her past mistakes and unrealized opportunities.
Thank you so much for watching my video and your time. Please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell button. Also, I am very interested to know your personal opinion about this story. You can write it in the comments. I will definitely read it and reply to you personally.